Good day. So today I will be reporting transport to skin or skin absorption. Good day. So skin absorption is a route by which substances can enter the body through the skin. The process of movement of unchanged drug from the site of administration to systematic circulation. So there's always a correlation between the plasma concentration of a drug and the therapeutic response. Thus, the absorption can also be defined as the process of movement of unchanged drug from site to admin. So, in skin absorption, there are factors that are needed to consider, such as absorption of skin depends on a number of factors: concentration, duration of contact, solubility of medication, physical condition of the skin. So, in the general rate of absorption of chemicals through skin follows the following scheme from fastest to slowest: scrotal, forehead, armpit, scalp, back, abdomen, palm, and under the surface of the foot. Intracellular transport. It is the movement of vesicles and substances within a cell. Intracellular transport is contrasted, the directed movement of vesicles and substances between cells. So, it consists of two transports: an active transport and a passive transport. Passive transport consists of passive diffusion, pore transport, and facilitated diffusion. As for the active transport, it consists only of primary and secondary, which the secondary has a symport and antiport. Passive diffusion is a process of transport. It is a single substance tends to move from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration, so until the concentration is equal across the space. For example, think about the opening of a bottle of perfume in a room filled with people. The perfume is at its highest concentration in the bottle, then it spreads out and it becomes the lowest at the edges of the room. The perfume vapor will diffuse or spread away from the bottle, and gradually more and more people will smell the perfume as it spreads. So in passive diffusion, there is a non-ionic diffusion where the driving force is the concentration gradient, the drug movement is the kinetic energy of molecule, then the energy-independent process was expressed by Fick's first law of diffusion, where the molecules moves from a region of higher concentration to one of lower concentration until equilibrium is attained in the rate of diffusion. So the characteristics of passive diffusion is a downhill transport. It processes energy independent and non-saturable. Drug transfer directly proportional to concentration gradient. Greater the R in lesser thickness of membrane, faster diffusion, processes rapid over short distance and slower over long distance. So there is first Fick's law, a non-sync condition. So the sync condition is dq over dt is equals to pc sub git. So in the equation follows first order kinetic, hence passive diffusion process is first order process. So for transport, or in other terms, convective transport, bulk flow, or filtration, it is a physical, biological, or chemical operation that separates solid matter and fluid from a mixture with a filter medium. This has a complex structure through which only the fluid can pass. So as you can see in the picture, the cytoplasm is also called as a nuclear pore. So at number 1, you can see the nuclear envelope. 2 is the outer ring, 3 is the spokes, 4 is the basket, and 5 is the filaments. Transport an equation is applied or used, so dc over dt is equals to n times r squared times a times the delta c over n times h. So the dc over dt is the rate of absorption, n is the number of pores, r is the radius of the pores, delta c is the concentration gradient, and n is the viscosity of the fluid of the pores. So facilitated diffusion. So this mechanism involves the driving force is concentration gradient. In this system, no expenditure of energy is involved. Therefore, the process is not inhibited by metabolic poisons that interfere with energy production. Limited importance in the absorption of drugs such as transport system include entry of glucose into RBCs and intestinal absorption of vitamin B1 and B2. Active transport is the movement of the molecules across a cell membrane from a region of low concentration to a region of high concentration. So against the concentration gradient, active transport requires cellular energy to achieve this movement. There are two types of active transport, which is the primary active transport that uses adenosine triphosphate, the secondary active transport that uses an electromagnetic gradient. So since the process is uphill, energy is required to work done by the barrier, and as the process requires expenditure of energy, it can be inhibited by metabolic poisons that interfere with energy production. Primary transport. This is a formation of reversible neutral complex with endogenous ions. Complex which is lipophilic and water soluble, absorbed by passive diffusion. So transport of charged molecules due to the formation of neutral complex with another charged molecule carrying an opposite charge. Drugs have low partition coefficient values, yet these penetrate the membrane by forming reversible neutral complexes with endogenous ions. Such neutral complexes have both the required lipophilicity as well as aqueous solubility for passive diffusion. So, endocytosis, it involves engulfing extracellular materials within a segment of the cell membrane to a form of saccule or a vesicle, which then pinch off intracellular. So, endocytosis pathway can be subdivided into four. So, this is the receptor-mediated endocytosis, cavule, pinocytosis, and phagocytosis. But I'm not gonna discuss it further. So, endocytosis, it involves engulfing